Welcome to the new episode of the Cyber Threats Radar. We are immediately plunging into a deep dive today, and it's on something, well, something absolutely foundational for any business that's on Microsoft 365. We're talking about the critical, non-negotiable need for dedicated data protection, specifically for Outlook emails. So our mission here is to really get past the basics and explore why just, relying on Microsoft's own native tools is actually pretty risky.
It's so risky, and that context is it's everything for organizations today, isn't it?
It really is.
The whole conversation has shifted. It's not if you need a backup anymore. It's how isolated and robust is that backup.
Exactly.
If you're a security professional listening to this, the accountability, it's entirely on you. That's the Microsoft shared responsibility model. And our sources are clear. Even now, in 2025, email is still one of the biggest attack vectors out there. It's the main way in for ransomware and account takeovers.
Okay, so let's really unpack this, because I think the first thing we always hear from system admins is,
Oh, absolutely. It's always, well, Microsoft already handles that for us.
right.
We use litigation hold, or we set our exchange retention policies.
Yep, that's the one.
So we need to address those native tools head on and explain exactly why they are not a real substitute for a true backup.
That is the essential starting point. You're right. Microsoft gives you tools for, let's call it, data retention and service redundancy.
Okay.
But those are fundamentally different from data recovery and, maybe most importantly, isolation. Think about the recoverable items folder. That's your first line of defense.
It's a soft delete folder.
Exactly. A user deletes an email, it goes there, it's like a temporary trash bin. It's convenient, sure,
Yeah.
but it's very limited.
And litigation hold just keeps things in there longer.
It extends it, yes.
Yeah.
Retention policies and litigation hold, they make sure deleted or changed content is preserved, mostly for things like e-discovery or compliance.
So the data is technically still there. Why isn't that good enough protection against a major incident?
It's all about where there is. That's the key.
Those native tools keep the data available, yes. But within the live Microsoft 365 environment, they're designed for regulations, not for disaster recovery.
So what are the failure points?
There are two big ones: isolation and immutability.
Tell us more about the isolation problem. That sounds critical.
It is. So imagine your entire M365 tenant gets compromised, a sophisticated account takeover, or maybe a really nasty ransomware attack that goes after cloud storage. That ransomware can, and often does, propagate across that entire live environment. And since your litigation hold data is still managed by that affected environment,
This is vulnerable.
it's completely vulnerable. The backup isn't separated from the attack vector at all.
That brings up a really good question about immutability.
Yeah.
If the native policy just says keep a copy, can't an attacker or a script just change or delete the policy itself?
You've hit it right on the head. That's precisely the risk. While Microsoft has its own layers of protection, a dedicated third-party solution stores your data in a separate, isolated infrastructure. It often uses what's called a write once, read many protocol. This makes the data truly immutable.
So an event in your M365 tenant, even a catastrophic one,
Even an admin deleting the whole tenant by mistake, it can't affect the backed up copy that's living in an external cloud.
that makes the difference crystal clear.
Mm.
And I know it's a bit legacy now, but some people still rely on old methods like manual PST file exports. What's the danger there, especially with ransomware?
Oh, the danger is it's pure exposure. Exporting your Outlook data to a .pst file on your laptop or a network share, you're basically creating a perfectly organized gift for an attacker.
A bundle of all your most critical data.
A bundle of your history. If ransomware hits your device, it doesn't just encrypt your Word docs. It actively hunts for large files like PST archive.
And once that file is encrypted, it's gone.
It's toast. It's not disaster recovery. It's more like disaster preparation for the attacker. It's fundamentally impractical for any real organization.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me. If the administrative tools give you redundancy, but not isolation, and the old ways are just too manual and risky, what's the dedicated solution? The one that gives you that continuous isolated protection?
Well, the findings attributed to Spin.AI show this massive shift towards specialized cloud-to-cloud backup software, something like Spin.AI.
Okay.
This is really the easiest, fastest, and frankly most secure way to get true data protection for Microsoft 365. The whole philosophy is about automation and separation.
So you take the human error out of it.
So you take the manual work out and you move the data entirely out of the potential blast radius of an attack.
But I have to ask a challenging question here.
Yeah.
Microsoft themselves, they talk about their geographical redundancy, their tenant separation across the globe.
Sure.
How is the isolation from a third-party provider really different? And more importantly, how is it more secure?
That's a great question, and it all comes down to diversifying your risk.
Okay.
Microsoft's redundancy protects you from an infrastructure failure at Microsoft. A data center goes down, for example. Third-party backup gives you vendor diversification. With a tool like Spin.AI, the platform actually lets you choose where your backup data
Oh,
lives.
interesting.
You can put it on AWS, GCP, Azure, even your own custom storage. So your primary data might be in Microsoft's world, but your secure, immutable backup is somewhere totally different, like in Google Cloud.
So a breach affecting one vendor can't jump to the other.
Exactly. An authentication compromise, a
Yeah.
system-wide issue. It can't simultaneously hit the isolated backup. That separation is just non-negotiable for high-security environments.
I really appreciate that distinction. It's not about whose software is better, it's about a better risk architecture.
That's a great way to put it.
So how does this kind of software handle the recovery process when, the worst happens? Specifically ransomware.
Yeah, with ransomware, time is absolutely your enemy. Trying to restore manually can mean days of downtime. A dedicated platform automates that entire life cycle. It's more than just standard backup. These solutions often have specific ransomware detection and response capabilities. Spin.AI calls it RDR.
RDR, correct.
This tech is constantly watching your M365 data. It's looking for weird behavior, things that look like a ransomware attack, like mass encryption or mass deletion.
And if it spots something.
It locks down the data immediately.
Ah.
And crucially, it lets you restore to the clean pre-attack version almost instantly. You can get to near zero downtime. The automation also handles the frequency. You can set backups to run up to 3 times a day, so your maximum data loss window is, just a few hours.
I can just imagine the time it saves an IT team. Instead of digging through PowerShell scripts or checking policies, the user experience is just, it's completely streamlined.
It is, completely. The administration is simple and centralized. You can set it up in minutes from an admin panel. And if an admin needs to restore one single sensitive email thread from 2 years ago, they don't have to mount some old PST file or run a complex search.
Right.
They just go to the dashboard, click Restore right next to the backup button, and pull that specific item back from the isolated cloud storage. It just standardizes recovery into a few clicks.
That standardization is obviously key for scaling up. But we can't just stop at backup, can we? If we're looking at the bigger picture, a reliable backup is the foundation.
It's the foundation, yes.
But it has to be part of a bigger cybersecurity framework to deal with all the other risks in these cloud environments.
This is where you see the concept of an all-in-one SaaS security platform really emerge. Backup solves the what if it's gone problem,
Right.
but the broader security framework solves the how did it get gone and the who can see it problems.
Okay, let's break down some of those components. What about SSPM? We know it's SaaS, Security Posture Management, but what does that actually do in an M365 environment?
SSPM gives you full visibility into your configuration, which, to be honest, is so often the weakest link.
A misconfiguration.
Yeah, like an admin accidentally enables global external sharing on SharePoint. Or a crucial MFA setting gets disabled for a group of users by mistake. SSPM is always monitoring thousands of these settings against best practices. It flags that misconfiguration right away so the security team can fix it before an attacker finds that open door. It's all about minimizing your attack surface.
So it's proactive. It's stopping the disaster before it can even start. What about preventing data loss from the inside, like an insider threat?
That's the job of DLP, data leak prevention. And this is so important because insider threats, whether they're accidental or malicious, they are notoriously hard to track. DLP gives you visibility over how data is being shared. For example, say a departing employee tries to download a huge amount of sensitive customer data.
Big spreadsheet of PII or something.
Exactly. The DLP solution can spot that anomaly, block the action, and alert the security team immediately. It watches what's being shared, what's in the files, and where the data is going.
And finally, that brings us to compliance. For any large organization, all of this protection has to have a clear audit trail.
Absolutely. That's where e-discovery comes in and make sure all your sauce data, emails, files, everything, it's all searchable, indexed, and ready for a legal hold or an internal investigation.
And non-negotiable.
Completely non-negotiable in regulated industries. And speaking of regulation, the external validation of these specialized platforms is, well, it's paramount. You have to make sure the solution you pick has robust certifications. And our sources confirm platforms like Spin.AI are audited and certified against these crucial global standards. We're talking about being SOC 2 Type 2 audited, which builds trust around security and availability, and being HIPAA compliant, which is vital if you handle any health information,
And the others.
and upholding standards like GDPR, PCI DSS, and the CSA certifications. That level of independent proof gives you regulatory assurance that a DIY approach just can't match.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Ultimately, backing up your Microsoft 365 emails isn't about convenience or just checking a box on a list. It's about establishing true resilience. It's about protecting your communication history, your intellectual property, all of your records from a catastrophic loss. Whether it's a simple accidental deletion that gets past the recoverable items folder or a really sophisticated account takeover. That historical record has to be isolated, and it has to be recoverable.
It does, and relying on retention policies alone is just a gamble. They were never, ever designed to solve the problem of a systemic compromise of your whole environment. Organizations are still highly susceptible to ransomware and account takeovers. The lesson from all the recent findings is that isolation is protection. So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. Don't just ask if your data is backed up. Ask where it's backed up. Is that location completely isolated from your primary sauce environment?
A crucial question.
Because if your backup lives in the same sandbox as your live data, you haven't really diversified your risk. And you might still end up paying the ransom.
A strong closing thought for you to chew on. Thank you for listening. Stay safe.